what was really interesting about our work yesterday was when you said something to the effect of this cancer has caused you to ask for more help, and you're finding out
Mm.
how loved you are.
It's so huge that I don't have to create cancer to know that people love me and care about me. And I have been given so many gifts, from emotional support to money to gifts to food to helping me and driving me to my appointments. And I am just, I think that after, what we don't know is, like, I just lost a granddaughter who was 12 last year to cancer. And so I went through a depression that I didn't even realize I was going through, and feeling like I didn't have any purpose in life anymore, because, and not even realizing why, or not even realizing I was in depression, but I was pulling myself back away from the world and not doing anything or going anywhere. And, this creating the cancer has just opened me up to realizing, oh, wow, I don't need to have an illness to go forward with my goals.
Well, and when you were describing all the things you were gaining from having the cancer, my response was, Cathy, I have all those things and I don't have cancer. I feel so loved. And
I know.
that was sort of an aha, I think, for both of us.
Yes.
So.
But we all want to be loved and accepted and adored and cradled and happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So have you created any kind of action plan now from our work about, going forward, about wanting to live? And
again, the basic one is just remembering to allow myself to, sometimes I just need to breathe and then remember to step back into my witness and observe what I'm doing. So as I go forward, I choose to be more aware of when I am not doing the things that I want to do, like telling the truth and being honest with myself, and allowing myself to go out and create the love and all the joy that I'm getting without being sick.
Right.
So those are my
steps
going forward.
In our matrix, the action plan, this is kind of the last step of all these sound bites we're writing down. The action plan then has those intellectual sound bites defining what we need to do in order to address the original issue. Now, for me, assumptions and miscommunication, my action plan is based on my intuition, which said, look at yourself. And so my plan going forward is I'm going to watch where I make assumptions, and I'm going to watch where I don't communicate quite as well as I could. I can tell you that, as I said, this is going down in the history of Revs, because there are so many things even in that 1 week where I didn't make assumptions, where I made sure to take that extra step in communication and kind of step back and think, okay, now, have I told everybody everything? Do I need to tell anybody anything else? And then when I find places where I'm not communicating well, or I make an assumption, there's no shame. There's no mentally berating myself. It's like, oh, look at me making assumptions again.
Oh, and I want to say, the beauty of you and Robin and I all sharing with each other, I look at your sound bites and your goals for going forward, and Robin's, and it's like, oh, I can now see how I can apply those to me, because it applies to all of us.
Yes. And when I do this in a workshop and everyone has a big Post-it note that we put on the wall and we write all those things, and I write all the emotions at the bottom in red and they go all around the room, and when you're done, you see, it doesn't matter how different the storyline is. Like my storyline from Robin's storyline, especially from your storyline and Tammy's storyline, it's the same conflict, same couple conflicts, and it's the universal emotions that do not get embraced and loved and moving through this flow. The anger, this depression, the sadness, the frustration, all the bad stuff is trapped in us, and then it becomes cancer. It becomes excessive weight. It becomes depression. It becomes then externally separations in families and conflicts in the community and worldwide conflict. So we really are working at that root level. And I too, I have to say, listening to both of your conflicts, I'm finding great fodder for my own continued revolutions. So Robin.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We all make assumptions. That's a good one too.
It really is it's so elemental. I'm so grateful to Maxine. But here's kind of, we're kind of coming to the end here, but I just wanted to ask you guys your opinion of boiling it down into this basic presentation. What do you think is the best way to help people untrain themselves to reject the bad emotion? Robin?
I think for me, what I remind myself is that when I'm triggered with emotion, the first thing I tell myself is don't have a knee-jerk reaction. When I get triggered, I say, oh, there's work to do. And that's the first thing I tell myself. Oh, there's work to do. And then it creates a new instant response to whatever emotion is happening. And I've even trained myself to do that with intense joy. Because intense joy, it's the people that run off and get married in Las Vegas that have equally had a knee-jerk reaction to extreme joy, right? That may not be good for the whole. And so with any emotion that's coming through us, that we can stop and say, I have work to do. And so for me, that's where I begin. And then I remember the process. Okay, feel and breathe, and I follow the trainings, the process.
Yeah. And Cathy, particularly because having known you this long, that it's really been challenging for you to access deep emotion.
Yes, and you asked how we encourage others, and a time when most of us would take a bad emotion when we were feeling it and tell people oh, don't feel that way. But when you see someone crying and having them express an uncomfortable emotion, what I'm able to do now is to allow them and myself, because I'm not good at didn't used to be good at crying at all, as you know, and bearing those things, to actually feel those bad emotions, because all emotions can lead us someplace else. So we encourage each other to feel the good and the bad emotions and move them through, and then take that, if I'm feeling sad, what's the next? I can't feel elatingly happy immediately, but I can take the next step up to whatever that emotion makes me feel a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And every process of Conrad, I need to breathe. So I breathe to get into my witness, and I breathe to find my truth, and breathe to find my soundbite. So just remembering to feel and breathe has just been so powerful for me.
Yes. Yeah, me too. I just want to add a little ending to my own conflict, was that shortly or during this time, I had a conflict with my sister. And I was Maxine. I wrote her an email that sounded like Maxine's. And I sent it off and immediately started to feel and breathe. And I'm so grateful that bringing conflict revolution to my family, and the sister that triggered me was the one from the Headache Project. Long story short, my other sister was involved as well, and she merely said, this is not a conversation for email. So I called her, and she was so wonderful. She was triggered too, but she basically just returned conflict revolution to me because she knew how to do it. And pretty soon I was crying, she was crying, and then she had another thing that was coming up. And so I waited for a few days, and I kept getting the intuition nudging me, call the other one, call the other one. I was a little less excited because she traditionally would read me the riot act. And she was so wonderful, so loving and calm, and explained everything. And we had this wonderful talk, and we're going to get together when I get home and such. So you can even you can even act not for the good of the whole, and it can come out for the good of the whole. So is there anything else either of you just want to add before we close this up and let people go off and think about this and digest it?
Thank you, Robin and Barb. The last thing I want to share is when we went through this weekend, and I had to ask you for help, and then you asked me, are you willing to share in this Sunday morning conference these personal things about you and your family? And my first reaction was, eek, and then I realized, okay, my truth needs to be told, because then I can show by example that not only do people that have been doing Conrad for years and doing it really, really well get stuck and need help and need to ask, but also when you see my story, then you can, relate to it and say, well, if she can do this, then I can fix this little issue I have with my boss at work. And things like that. So I'm so grateful to both of you. I love you both so much, and thank you for letting me be a part of this, even though I was a little bit scared to do it.
Well, I think the powerful thing about you sharing your story is I have always believed that conflict resolution can heal physical illnesses. It can prevent physical illnesses by not allowing a buildup of abscessive emotion getting stuck in our body. But you have shown that this isn't a replacement for chemo. It's not a replacement for any kind of therapy, physical therapy anybody might be doing with cancer, but it certainly, I believe, can augment the healing process. And so I'm looking forward to having you get your clean bill of health.
Amen.
And Robin?
Yes, and in closing, I think that we've shown by all these examples a good reasons why this work is important and why it's worth it. Maybe listeners are thinking, wow, this is a lot of effort. I don't know if I can do it. But what inspires us, and we had this conversation a little bit the other day, is the health that comes out of it, the well-being that comes out of it, the stronger relationships, the ability to achieve in life things that you value. And in my case, I realized I really value having a partnership, and I want to do whatever it takes to get that. And my conflict with Mr. Downer is the one that helped me to see that mirror and see, oh, wait a minute here. I'm draining my own energy by telling myself I'm unworthy and unlovable. And by telling myself, you're never going to have a partner, or you're not going to be able to achieve what you want in life, or I didn't see the pathways. I couldn't find the next step that I needed to take. And so in closing, I'm taking a lot of steps, declaring that this is something that I value, setting that intention daily, seeing the optimistic side. What am I grateful for? What is working right? What will work for me? How do I combat the thoughts that are telling me that I'm unworthy and unlovable, and stepping into that witness and catching myself every time I start to beat myself up and pushing back, wrestling with those thoughts to create more hopefulness. And I'm much more hopeful a year into it. Have I achieved my goal yet? No, but I'm very hopeful that I will.
Yes, and part of what Lily Phelps on her show, we were talking about, would Jesus forgive Hitler? And the answer was, of course. That's what he couldn't not forgive Hitler, because then he wouldn't be Jesus. So you can't not achieve that goal, because if we're going to vision and intention and work towards that vision, then it has to have come true in the future.
I love that.
So we can find hopefulness in that too. But I just want to close by telling the people who have listened to this, who want to do this work more, you can always contact me, partyof12.com, barbwith@gmail, shoot me an email. There's any number of learning tools that I have. My new book, Einstein et al., Manifestation, Conflict, Revolution, and the New Operating System, is the complete guide. It's the unified field theory, the maps of human consciousness, and then the complete curriculum that will walk you through this. And then I do some one-on-one coaching. I occasionally have online classes. So come to my website and sign up and pay attention. And there's a lot of free stuff on there as well, to free downloads. But with this basic information, I think you can start experimenting with yourself and gaining control of your own domain. And I think I speak for Cathy and Robin and everyone who has been practicing and experiencing the results of conflict revolution. Then you only will need to watch and be amazed. All right, thank you. Thank you both. Until next time, have a wonderful month. And I'm here if you need me. And next month, at the end of April, we will have Leslie Stewart on talking about joy. So have a good day, all.